Okay, hi Liz.
Hi Steve, how you doing?
I'm very good, thank you. Here we are again.
Good, yeah, I know. Yeah, well, I just thought, in light of the amount of feedback we've had from the lead meet that we did at the end of June, it was worth carrying on that conversation about supporting schools with, what do we do when we go back in September? What else have we got to put in place? What have we got in our toolkit to help kids keep up?
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, it's great, isn't it? The feedback's been wonderful. Keep calm.
Yeah.
It's lovely to know everyone's feeling a bit more reassured about September. I mean, there's been more announcements, haven't there? External friends, shall we call it that, may want to visit in the autumn term to find out about our recovery plan from COVID.
Yeah, and that
Um,
was part of a trigger that made us take this step now, wasn't it? That actually conversations you've been having during the week and a couple of conversations with head teachers about
yes.
what are we doing about our curriculum intent in
Yeah.
light of what's happened with COVID.
Yeah. So yeah, okay. So one of the things maybe to think around then, isn't it, is our intent and implementation. We worked hard on this year,
We did, yeah.
but maybe well the three R's here, Liz. Maybe we need to think about how we just be able to articulate maybe how we respond to the mislearning that we talked about in that lead meet.
Yeah.
Um, and maybe how we revive some of the lost learning. I don't know if lost is the right word, but well, we'll come to that maybe.
Yeah, let's look at it in a bit more detail in a minute.
Yeah, but we're quite passionate here about that restore, aren't we? As well, then there's things we've got in place, and maybe there's a bit of we just got to remind ourselves about those and get them back in place as quickly as possible.
And I think that's a huge one, and it's going to be very different for some children compared to others, that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess the respond, that's what the last lead meet was about.
Yeah, it was all about this keep calm, wasn't it? And those strategies for dealing with the learning that lots of children have missed from March to July. So I think, maybe having a look at some of one of the videos of us talking about that might be useful if people haven't seen that.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so if you haven't seen the previous ones or you couldn't make it to the lead meet, they're now available. And there's a couple of blogs on CanDoMaths.org, which unpicks it a bit more as well.
Yeah, and then in that we talk about these KPIs, don't we? These key performance indicators. So we're not trying to cram every little bit of learning that we missed into the whole of next year. So it's doing something sensible about, being realistic about making it manageable.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. And it mentions more details in the Keep Calm curricular documents. And if people haven't got those, then they can get them from the Buzzard Publishing website, can't they?
That's right. They're free on there. If you just do a search on there for Keep Calm or COVID,
Yeah.
it'll come up on the buzzardpublishing.com. Yeah.
Great, and I think the link's in the third blog as well. So there's a few places people can get them. So we won't linger too long on this one, maybe.
Well, let's move on. Go on. Let's have a little look at the next step then.
Yeah, because I guess this is the bit we didn't really talk about, and people are asking about, well, if they did do the maths workouts that we provided, that was all about keeping that learning alive that you've already done this year, wasn't it?
Totally. They were focused on the learning from September to March. That was the decision we made, wasn't it? It was to support people to keep that learning strong, to keep it going. Yeah. But, not all children will have done that. So I think this is really important to think about, well, what can we do about the learning they did between September and March, but they maybe haven't revisited at all since then?
I think, and we mustn't lose sight. So I think two strategies here are really key, aren't they? We must not lose sight. We know this, and this is why Dylan Williams quotes at the bottom of all these slides. We just know this. What happens in the classroom is what makes the difference, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I can, high quality responsive teaching will just, it's the way I can capture if any of the learning has been lost and then do something proactively about it.
Yeah. But then also we've got some tools here that will help us with some diagnostic assessments as well, haven't we?
Yeah.
So go on, sorry, Steve.
Well, I was just going to say there's a bit of a chat about that, isn't there, really? That maybe I might need to just formalise it possibly. And I'll use a test, a summative assessment in a diagnostic way. And, the chat about the catch-up and the tutoring and so on, well, that needs to be targeted, doesn't it? It needs to be doing the right things.
Yeah, and I think that's, again, where we're trying to respond to what schools are saying to us, aren't we? Maybe testing wouldn't have been at the front of what we wanted to do, but, there seems to be a pressure on for some people to want to do some testing and to have some things to manipulate. Well, here we go. So these are things that we're producing that will support you with that.
And what we'll give examples of these maybe. I think because what strikes me though, and what I guess both our thoughts and concerns on that. What are you testing? Why are you testing, and for what purpose? What's it? So I guess that's why this helps me to think about these things called arithmetic checks that we have.
Yeah, so those were devised, weren't they, on the back of the arithmetic kit. So looking at those 24 do or die statements based on mental calculations, written calculations, and number facts. And so we sort of think, okay, so this is, an example of the year 4 one here, maybe. So if we've got a year 5 class, we might want to run them through a quick arithmetic check from year 4 that will just bring stuff really noticeably to the surface. Stuff that, oh, blimey, I thought they'd got that in year 4, but they haven't. So it'll inform us about what we need to do next.
Have they got the arithmetical toolkit to be successful? Yeah. Okay. Good.
And if we're using the can-do approach, then we've got time in our Maths on Track to address that. But it's maybe just, honing our awareness of what the issues are.
I guess that's important, actually, isn't it? Because one of the things we are concerned about that we know learning doesn't get lost, and we know that even more because in the Maths on Track meetings we keep practicing, we keep it alive. That's been the whole purpose of this year. But we did lose that, didn't we? We did lose the opportunity to maybe keep the learning alive. So yeah, it's a good point.
And I think it's one of the hardest things that some teachers are going to have to deal with, isn't it? Is the huge variety of which children have kept up with some learning and which children haven't. So that, having that baseline check would be quite informative on that, wouldn't it?
So that, I think, for me, that does the job, actually. But I guess if I'm then thinking, I could look at that and I could go, well, I think there's some other bits that are really important, actually. And I just want to check, fractions, some decimals, some percentage. I'll call them some fundamentals here, Liz.
Yeah, so the arithmetic aspects of the KPIs, isn't it, is what we're looking at.
Yeah. And the KPIs are what we talk about in the blog, don't they? People know about that, hopefully, now. It's great to see, isn't it, by the way, nationally, these ready to progress criteria have come out recently.
Yeah, it's quite, we've done a bit of a cross-referencing with that, haven't we? And looked at those links and stuff, and we're feeling pretty positive about that.
Yeah, it's great. It's nice that the thinking's going there. And so these arithmetic quizzes can actually do something more then. I'm going to say infinite number of questions, Liz. I can just really keep checking that they know, and they keep knowing that this stuff they should know.
Yeah, and the way you can focus it on a key bit of learning, like, add 100. Well, let's practice adding 100. Let's get really good at adding 100, or subtracting 10. Let's get really good at that. So that focus is good, isn't it?
So I can do that in the classroom, formatively, or if I wanted to, there's those download buttons, aren't there? And I can click all questions, and it'll produce me a summative assessment, which is all about all the KPIs for year 4.
Or then what you could do if you thought, all right, now we need to practice, let's focus on one that maybe children didn't do as well at that I'd hoped. So let's get lots of practice of that one particular aspect of the KPI.
Nice. An infinite number of diagnostic assessments, Liz. Infinite number.
Well, never ending, goodness me.
But that's great, isn't it? It's just fabulous, and that's available for all years to do that diagnostic. What about the other bits of maths, though, Liz? And this all feels very much about give me the answer. Can you do it? Can you do it?
Yeah, and again, this is in response when we decided we were going to write a test for terms 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, an accumulation of learning based on the requests from club members. So we've just brought that forward, and so we'll produce those ready for September. Some fluency, reasoning, and solving problems. Remember it based on the KPIs. So there'll be, a year 3 keep uppy test. Remember it based on the first 12 KPIs. And then one based on the second 12 KPIs. So we can really drill down into, can they reason and solve problems with the KPIs through the year?
So that's a really robust belts and braces there, isn't it? That's everything. Not only covering all the key fundamentals from all strands of mathematics, but actually you have got a secured understanding of it as well. So that's up to a school to decide then, isn't it? I guess.
Yeah, we're just putting lots of stuff out there, hopefully, that schools can decide, well, which is the bit we want to use. We're not suggesting you all do all of it. It's that assessment. What do we want to know about our children, and what's going to be the best tool for it?
And we mustn't lose sight, must we? This keep calm, is all about I'm just thinking about some of the members who fed back, and we shared that tweet about actually the children have come back and they're stronger, and it doesn't feel like they've lost learning actually, and we can hit the ground running.
Yeah, and that's really important to recognise, isn't it?
Yeah. So, okay, so we did also mention, so that's interesting, isn't it? There's a mislearning bit, and then there's they may have lost some learning, so we can cover those bits. But I guess we feel quite passionate about this as well, don't we?
Oh, this to me is, it really made my heart sink when I first started hearing the catch-up thing being raised a lot at the time, because I think for some children, if we make them feel like they've got to catch up because they've been left behind, the impact on their self-esteem will be huge.
Mm.
So, that feeling of I'm coming into school and it's a safe place to be, it's a positive place to be, my teacher has faith in me,
Yeah.
I can learn, I can do well. We've
Yeah.
got to keep that mindset going.
Yeah, we can do.
Yeah, totally. More
Yeah.
now than ever.
Yeah, absolutely. So there may be just a bit of a regrouping on this and making sure we are giving those positive can-do messages. Children believing they can succeed, because we do believe they can succeed. And the pedagogy that we've worked on, we've really transformed our teaching and the way we plan our mathematics. So let's not lose sight of that.
Yeah. I think absolutely, Stephen. I think that's the important role of leaders in all of this, isn't it? If leaders are feeling a bit under pressure, then we don't want to pass that pressure on to the teachers, who then pass it on to the children. So it is that keep the faith.
Yeah.
If we're using this approach, we're following the right way, and we can support all of us to feel that we can do it.
Absolutely. Yeah, great. Thanks, Liz. That's really helpful. So respond, revive, and restore. We've got this.
3 R's.
Fantastic.